Pictures to Xe9 really is the perfect choice for the wedding photographer, because the key to creating a presentation in a time cost-effective way is by using slide styles. In our wedding promo presentation, we said that the entire slideshow could be made in under 8 minutes. Well, let's test that claim. There's no need for us to crop images from their original 3:2 aspect ratio, so that will save heaps of time. But we can still create a 16:9 presentation that's going to display on all modern display screens, PC and Mac computers, flat screen televisions and tablets. Wedding photographers are likely to be skilled in the batch resizing and naming of images, so let's start our little test at that point. In the file list you can see I've got a small selection of images that have been batch processed to 3000 pixels by 2000 pixels automatically in Photoshop, and you will also see a piece of music which is roughly 2 minutes in length, maybe a few seconds over. So let's make a start. I'm going to go to File, New to set up a new project. No, I don't want to save what I have on screen, but I want the default settings for a new project. I need a couple of blanks, but I'd like them to be white rather than black given we're working on a wedding. So right click, insert a blank, project options, main tab, change the solid color from black to white, and if I hit Alt S or right click and add another blank, that one will be in white. Now I'm going to select an opening title from the slide styles. I need to go to my wedding styles, and the one I want is the caption center, and I'll adjust this a little later. Now we're underway with our project, so I'm going to make sure I save it. File, Save As. Go to the place I'm working. I'll call this my wedding promo and save. What I'm going to do next is to select all of the images in the file list and the piece of music using shift click and drag them down. Yes, I do want to use the music. I just need to click OK. We'll see that music in a different way in a moment or two. Now I need to apply slide styles to these images. We can apply them to multiple images or individual. I'll do a couple which are applied together. So let's select two, add a slide style, and the slide style I'm going to add is frame zoom in. If I take the next two, I'll add the slide style frame zoom out, and the next three are three portraits. We'll select all three of those, go to our slide styles because we've got one in the wedding section called 3 portraits. Did I select it? Just took a few seconds to actually put that in place. Now with the next two images I think I'll select the album. So back into the slide styles. This one's found in the basic section, but I'm unsure why they call it basic because it's pretty stylish is the album, and we'll apply that to the next two images. So now we can start to think about the remainder, and I'll take these one at a time. So let's go back to our slide style, back to our wedding options. I'm going to start at pan down right, then the next one, pan left, and the next one, pan right, and as you can see I'm adding these individually to give us some variety, but it does slow down the operation a little bit of course. Let's take the next two together, slide style, and go back to our original zoom in, which was quite nice, and then the last two we'll have them slightly different. So let's go back to the bottom and then up one to pan right. Now I think I could do with another couple of blanks at the end. One maybe for some end credits and then a fade to white. I'll right click right at the extreme end and insert a blank, and immediately I'll select my slide style and my caption center. And you'll notice how slide styles can come with backgrounds too. And then finally, to the right of that, I'll click and right click, and we'll have another one to fade down to blank. So now I can switch to the timeline, bottom right corner, and I can start putting these together and just adjusting the timings to get those few images to match that piece of music. Now, to be able to do this live, I need to drag down the volume of the music, otherwise you won't hear me speaking. Let's hope I've got it right. I don't need all of that transition for the blank at the start, so I'll drag that back and close the gap. And I can look and see if it's looking pretty good. That looks okay, but I can close the gap up there a little bit. And then I can probably allow the next 3 or 4 to play just as they are. I'll stop it at this point because this one's an important one because it's quite a lengthy one. So we'll just run that through and see how it looks in relation to this image. This one and this one, of course, has the album style. So we'll see if that looks and sounds right. And I think I'm reasonably happy with that. But I could close the gap up here if I wanted to, just drag a little bit to the left, and possibly even the next one too. But sometimes you need to check just to make sure. This is why we're jumping backwards and forwards here. But there we have it, moving on to the next slide style. Let's have a look and see how we're working out at the end. It's not looking too bad, but I think we can just close things up a little bit. We can make changes to images even though they've got slide styles attached, as long as we don't make massive changes and speed up the animation until we get to a point where it's not attractive anymore. But you can see everything's looking pretty good so far, and we've got maybe the ability to close that up and drop this into that sort of position, and it looks to me as though we're pretty much there already. So far, so good. So an important thing to do now is File, Save. I'll go over the top of the previous version. But I have my slideshow created. I do have to go in and make an adjustment at the front here, but that's quick and easy via the Objects and Animation screen, because all I really want to put in there is with pictures to XE9. That looks pretty good, so I'll close that, and at the end I'll select my end credit, and again underneath here I'll put let's put 2 spaces in there, www.winsoft.com. There's our slideshow created. All I need to do is to hit Control S or save that project file one more time. If I go to Publish Show, I'll make an executable file for PC. It's dropping it in the right place, it's picking up the right name. Just creating the slideshow only takes a few seconds, and then we can say that we're done in its entirety as I continue to speak, waiting for the blue bar to make its way across. Generally speaking, it's a lot quicker than that. But that didn't take too long to create our slideshow, albeit a small demo. Now I've just looked at the video that I've recorded, and I think it's taken me about 7.5 minutes to put this slideshow together start to finish. Yes, it's only a small demo, but it does indicate that we can put together quite a stylish slideshow with slide styles quickly and easily. And of course I was talking all the way through the process, so it must have added at least a minute, maybe a bit more to the time. Now what I've also done is to run the final slideshow full screen to make sure that what I think is working pretty well when I view it in the timeline, it actually works in the finished product, and I'm satisfied with it. The one thing I would have to do, of course, is to bring my sound back to full volume for the final slideshow. Now I think it's a fair assumption to make that over time we're going to see many more wedding slide styles added to Pictures to Exe. So if you need a presentation that looks stylish and modern and can be made in a very short time, Pictures to Exe 9 is for you.